Yasyesha mahima bhuvi Divye brahmapure hyesha Vyomnyatma pratisthitah Manomayah prana sharira neta Pratisthito ne hrudayam sannidhaya Tadvijnanena paripashyanti dhiraha Anandarupam amrutam yadvibhati It's a very beautiful mantra. In the last few mantras, we saw the sadhana of Brahma Vidya. And the sadhana of Brahma Vidya, Araivarathanabo, Samhata, Yatra Nadya, all those things, and then Pranavo Dhanusharo Hyatma, Brahmatal Lakshamuchyate, Apramattena Vedavyam, Sharavattanmayod Bhavet. That Jiva was told that you please do this upasana of Omkar, pick up the Pranavasharo, pick up the bow of Omkar. We saw that at great length last time. Now again, what is that Brahma Lakshyam Taduchyate? What is that goal of Brahman? What is that absolute that is talked about over here? That goal is Yaha Sarvagnya Sarvavit Yasya Esha Mahima Bhuvi Divye Brahmapure Hyesha Vyomni Atma Pratishtitah. So, in the first line, the Paravidya, the absolute unconditioned self is talked about, and then in the lower, the conditioned self is talked about. So it is the conditioned self trying to become limitless, unconditional self. That lower jiva wants to unite with that higher, and the higher is all pervading, and the lower is the embodied. So in the first line, that goal, what is that absolute that is enumerated, and then the conditioned self, what is that Manomaya Prana Sharira Neta, all those in the lower part of this mantra, this conditioned self is going to be talked about. So Shankaracharya ji over here in his Bhashya, Yaha sau tamasaf parastat samsara moha samsara mahodadim tirtva gantavyaha paravidya vishaya iti saha kasmin vartate ityaha. अपरा ब्रह्म का वर्णन तथा उसके चिंतका प्रकार. So what is the absolute nature of Brahman, and then the lower self which is trying to unite, how is it to be thought of by the jiva who has given up everything else and now has taken on this sadhana to unite with the higher? How is he to do that? Yaha sau tamasaf parastat, this absolute beyond the tamas, beyond the ignorance of nothing but our own mind and intellect. Beyond that, any type of concept, any type of feeling, emotion, this Brahman, unconditioned, is beyond that. Samsara mahodadim tirtva, having crossed this vast ocean of change. And we think that the vast ocean of change is outside, but the vast ocean of change is none other than the limitations created by our own mind. Our own mind, our own intellect, we have ample of limitations which prevent us from seeing the higher. So tirtva, having crossed, maha, over here it is samsara mahodadim, the vast ocean. It is the ocean of mentation, ocean of the intellectualization of various ideas, concepts. We intellectualize everything. So crossing that gantavya paravidya vishaya, that absolute, saha kasmin vartate ityaha, how is that self, unconditioned self, dwelling in this, that is also pointed out. So yaha sarvagnya sarvavita, the first line, we will see now word by word by word what this is. Yaha sarvagnya sarvavita, this sarvavit vyakhyataha tam punaha vishinashtihi. This Sarvagnya has been talked about earlier, and it has been talked about in the first Mundaka, the first section, 9th mantra itself. It was talked about. And what is that Sarvagnya? It is all pervading. What does all pervading mean? All pervading again means that it is a support of everything. It is a support of, wood is the support of the table. The table cannot exist apart from the wood. The metal is the support of this glass. The glass cannot exist apart from this metal. In this way, this self is the support of everything. In this way, it is all pervading. All that exists, it alone is the support of everything. So whenever we see this word all pervading, our mind should automatically go over there that it is the adhishthan of everything. This all pervading. But over here, yaha sarvagnya, he is the all knower. Sarvavit, he is all knower of everything in general, and he is the all knower of the individual. Two ways. Like for example, what I know is a limited knowledge. If somebody is a Carnatic music singer, then they know all nuances of music. And if somebody is not a knower of music, they don't know anything about it. This Atma in all embodied self, it knows specifically the view of the jiva. But that same self, which is the support of the universe, samanya rupena janati. It knows everything in all vast corners. How, if someone may ask? Because whatever we know, we cannot know without the light of consciousness. It is the light of consciousness that awares my mind and my intellect, and in that light of consciousness, I know. I know what? I know my own world. But it is that same light of consciousness which supports the whole universe, so it knows everything else. So Sarvajna, Sarvavit. It is all knower, and this all-knowing self knows in both ways, all wise and all knowing. Over here Gurudev says, so Sarvajna, all wise, Sarvavit, all knowing. So all knowing at the level of samashti, and it is Sarvajna. It is specifically, it knows everything at the vyashti rupena. So samashti, totality and individuality. Yasyaisha prasiddha mahima bhuvi, and his mahima is great. His mahima is great. Yasya mahima bhuvi, the glory in this universe of the self is great, because there is nothing greater than it. It alone is an absolute consciousness, alone pervades everything, and everything exists within consciousness. So whatever glory is there, it is a glory of only consciousness. Now, what is the glory? So Shankaracharya ji asks, Kaha asau mahima? If you think of glory, what glory are we talking about? So he describes what is this glory. Yasye me dhyava pruthivyam shasane vidrute tishtaha surya chandrama asau yasya shasane alata chakravat ajastram brahmataha. Very beautiful. He is talking about the totality. How is his glory? He says, Yasya ime, in him what exists? Tishtataha dhyava pruthivyoma shashane. It is because of him the earth, the sun, the moon, the stars, Surya, Chandrama, Asau, Yashya, Shashane, Alata Chakra, Vat Ajastram. I don't know if you seen in India, you know, they have during Deepavali time those sparkles. You hold it, children hold it, and it sparkles at the end. And then you take that sparkle and you roam it around, and when you roam it around, it looks like a circle of fire. But fire exists only at the tip of that thing which the child is holding, and the sparkles coming out create an illusory circle of light. It says, Shankaracharya ji says, this is called alata. Over here it is said alata chakravat ajastram. As though these planets, sun, moon, stars, they are thrown in a circle around the whole galaxy, and they spin around in the sky looking like these little sparkles, and it is creating, the galaxy is creating sort of like a swirl of light, and the swirl of light exists within it, and that is its Mahima. How it remains unmanifest, yet it allows the illusory world of manifestation to go around, just like a sparkle is only existing at a tip, but in the movement of it, it looks like a perfect circle of light. In the same way, the universe looks like a motion of all of these planets. In reality, in the unmanifest form, it alone exists, and that is its Mahima Bhuvi. The glory that matter is put to spun, matter spins around in the universe, and the spinning of the matter itself, in Atma where there is no movement, in Atma where there is no matter, in Atma where there is no time, time is created, space is created, matter is created, and that Achala Atma, as though it appears Chalit, that is Mahima Bhuvi, and this is to be meditated upon. Yasya Shashane Sarati Sagarascha Swagocharam Na Atikramanti. And with his power is such that each one of these planets, they remain surrendered to it, and not one planet transgresses its own boundary, and that planet remains exactly in its orbit. In the same way, on the earth over here, Yasya Shashane, because of his power, Saritaha, rivers, Sagaraha, oceans, Swagocharam Nati Kramanti, they dare not transgress their boundaries. They remain exactly the way they are. Who takes care of the sun, the moon, the stars? Who takes care of the plants, the rain, the mountains, the rivers, the oceans, everything else? Yasya Shashane. Its rule, its power alone is the glory of this universe. You need not go very far to see the glory. Right over here itself, it has the power over here. Tatha sthavaram jangamam cha yasya shashane niyatam. In the same way, sthavaram, the objects, they remain the way they are. Jangama, the world of animal kingdom, plant kingdom, and all this different expressions of life, they remain exactly the way they are. And that's why science can be science, that it can never ever transgress its properties, and those properties are defined, and those properties can be studied, and thus we have the field of chemistry, biochemistry, physics and mathematics, because it is a order, and that order is maintained. You can formalize that order into a formula, F equals ma, and so on and so forth. All this Yasya Shashane. It is because of him order of this universe is maintained. Tatha cha rutu ayane abdascha yasya shashane na atikramanti. And because of his power, rutu, the seasons, ayana, the two ayanas, Dakshinayan and Uttarayan. Just in 2 days we will enter Uttarayan. Who declares all those things? How does the sun know where to go and how to come back? The movement, the tilt of the earth, if we look at it, it is a wonder of wonders. We have the 7 natural wonders of the world, but how do you put the wonder of Paramatma? We cannot figure out his wonder. Exactly on that particular day, particular time, the sun just starts going back. Who decides this? How does this happen? How does the earth decide to change its tilt and just the slightest little tilt? And if we think about the speed with which earth orbits around the sun, mind-boggling. All the glass of water remains over here steady. But if we look at it from the standpoint of physics, she goes some 1,000 miles per hour. But that order is maintained. So even the slight tilt is what is meant by ayana, the direction, and then abdascha, varsh, different years, and each one of these yasya shashanam na atikramanti, and nothing can transgress this. So it was, I had gone to this temple, Swami Malai, and you have to climb these 60 steps to reach, and each step had a name. Obviously I couldn't read, I don't read Tamil, but these are the 60. Each year is labeled by the steps, and he over there presides as the Omkar, who gave the Omkar Upadesh to his own father. So he is Guru, and Guru can be reached crossing over these 60. And in each one of them I was told that the size of the granite is different, to know that each year has a different expression. And each one of the uniqueness of these steps, you can see the two colors and all those things, two ayana are there. Nobody knows what they're climbing on. Masses of people go. But if we understand just the architecture of our ancient places, all this wisdom is ingrained in it. So by the time we reach that, we have had the Omkar Upadesh in our mind itself. If we understand the Sashan, Yas Sarvagnya Sarvavita, and that knowledge he passes on. So this Yasya Shashane abdascha yasya shashane na atikramanti tatha kartarah karmani phalam cha yad shashanat shashanat swam swam kalam na atikramante sa esha mahima bhuvi. Not only this, but the kartarah karmani phalam, the fruits of all the actions that we do, the karta, the doer, karmani, the action unleashed by the doer, who decides what type of fruits to be given. Two people can do the same actions and you will have two different results. Who decides that? That's why Ramana Maharshi ji said, Kratuhu Agnaya Prapyate Phalam Karma Kimparam Karma Tajjadam. In Upadesh Sar, in little couplets, such wisdom, same thing Shankaracharya ji says, that who decides how we get fruit? We have no, we complain about certain things that, I did the same thing, people say that at work I do the same thing, he gets the raise, I don't get it. Should I complain? What should I do? We don't know who decides who gets what in life. All that he has already determined. That grain which is growing in the field, the prarabdha of that grain is already written as to whose mouth it will go in and what fruit it has to yield to that person. On that one paddy, there are hundreds of grains. and God knows which grain will end up in which body. But its prarabdha is written. Our prarabdha is written in the same way. Bhagavan himself being the karma phala data, it is already written. So karta karmani phalam yat shasanam, he himself takes care of all these things. Swam swam kalam, in right time it arrives. For some people, tatkalik, right here and now the fruit will arrive. For some people, maybe a year later. For some people, years, decades down the road. For some people, they may not even see it next life or the life after. All this, who determines? This is His Mahima, this is His glory. If we think about it, this itself is very meditative, and we should just become quiet. The whole idea about knowing this Mahima is to silence our mind. Unnecessarily, we create so much talk and blunder. Don't think it is on the outside, the talk and blunder on the inside. Just prattling. We should silence all this in the understanding that He alone is everything. Okay. Yasya cha esha sarvagnya evam mahima devaha divyo dhyotanavat sarva Bauddha pratya kruta dyotane. Divye. What is this divye? He says dhyotanavati, that which shines. Where does it shine? So he gives specifically sarva Bauddha pratyaya. In all buddhis born out of buddhi Bauddha. What is born out of buddhi? Thoughts. In all thoughts, it alone is the light which awares the thoughts. It is the light in the intellect which is the awareing faculty of each one of these thoughts. That is the light over here. That is the light. Don't literally think that it is a light. In meditation, a light will come and everything will be bright. That is not the light. It is the light of knowledge. It is the light of awareness, and it awares all thoughts. So if I shift my attention from the thought to the light of awareness, I have gone beyond creation. What is creation? Thought. If this light is there and underneath any object comes, the hand comes, the hand goes. The book comes, the book goes. The table comes, the table goes. The light ever is. Light is never modified by what it is objectifying. Light ever remains absolute without being intermingled by any objective reality. It is the innermost subject, and that light of awareness I am. I am consciousness. The consciousness never says, I awared the book. The consciousness never says, I awared the table. No. It is the duty of consciousness to aware. The sun never says, I am doing the job of sending my light in the Milky Way galaxy. It is its nature. Sun means light. It is the nature of consciousness to aware, and that is what we mean by consciousness. Its nature is awareness, exclusive awareness. objectless awareness, because when the objects all go away, what remains? Consciousness. Consciousness, and that has to be known. This has to be meditated upon. Sit quietly and take your attention from the thought to the awareness of thought, and that is called Divya. Sarva Bauddha Pratyaya Kruta Dyotane. It awares Bauddha Pratyaya, thoughts, and it awares all of them. Brahmapure, Brahmanaha Atra Chaitanya Swarupena Nitya Abhivyaktatvad Brahmanaha Puram Hrudaya Pundalikam Tasmin Yad Vyom Tasmin Vyomni Akashe Hrut Pundalika Madhyaste. What is this Brahmapure? It explains, Shankaracharya says, Brahmanaha Atra Chaitanya Swarupena. This Brahman, which is of the nature of consciousness, Chaitanya Swarupam, exclusive consciousness, unqualified consciousness, objectless awareness. That objectless awareness, Swarupena Nitya Abhivyakta, it is ever present, eternally ever present. It does not do the job of presence. It does not do the job of coming into presence. It is Nitya Abhivyakta. It is ever present. That is not its job, it is its nature. It is consciousness. It is Nitya Abhivyakta, ever present. Presence. It is not presence qualified by the three modes of time: past, present, and future. It is ever present. It is not that consciousness was present yesterday, that consciousness will be present tomorrow. From the standpoint of consciousness, there is no three periods of time. It is. It ever is. It ever was. It ever will be. So it becomes redundant in saying that consciousness was, is, and will be. So consciousness is. It is not qualified by three periods of time. In fact, the three periods of time are awared because of consciousness. So Nitya Abhivyakta, very beautiful Shabda to meditate upon. Brahmanaha Puram, and of this consciousness, ever present, ever aware, ever conscious, filled with presence, its village, Puram. All cities, name Madurapuram, Kanchipuram, this, that, Vedapuram, all this, Puram, it is a city. What kind of city over here it says? Brahmanaha Puram. Where is the Puram? Hrudayam. Now literally, please don't think it is the physical heart. It is said over here, Hrudaya Pundarikam Tasmin Yad Vyom Tishthan Vyomni Akasha Hrud Pundalika Madhyastha. In the space of the heart. Now, how can you find the space of the heart? Science tells us that there are 4 chambers, the 2 ventricles and the 2 atriums. This is gross heart. we are talking about the heart, the space of mind, the akash of the core. Hrudaya means the core. The core of the physical body is heart. It presides over the entire physical body. In the same way, the core of the soul which presides over the entire jivatva bhavana. And the heart of the jivatva is the manomaya akash, the vijnanamaya akash. And in the space, the deepest chambers, there exists this light of awareness. And that becomes the soul, becomes the driving force of the physical form. That physical heart gets its pulse from this presence. Consciousness expresses itself in the physical level as the beating. But the core of the beating is I am, I am, I am. That Hrudaya Akasha. Not the pumping of the blood. The pumping of the blood is a manifested activity. Don't confuse that for the Hrudaya Akasha. But the pumping of the heart would never exist without a signal to pump. And the signal to pump of the physical form comes from the subtle. And in the subtle, there is the confusion of the manomaya kosha, the confusion of the vijnanamaya kosha. But in that exists the Brahmapuram, the city of awareness is there. And that awares even the confusion, the confused thoughts. Who awares? The mudata of the muda, the stupidity of the stupid. Who awares? It is this consciousness. And the knowledge of the knower. Who awares? It is that. So Brahmapuram, the innermost. We need not go anywhere. The greatest tirtha is the Atma Tirtha. If we go to Kashi Yatra and all those things, I also just Tamil Nadu Yatra, the great divine Tirtha Sthala of the Chola and the Pandya dynasty. Yes, they are great places, but nothing more sacred than Brahmapuram. And where can you go for Brahmapuram? Which city? It is in all bodies, in all beings. This Brahmapuram exists. The ant has a Brahmapuram, cockroach has a Brahmapuram, the cuckoo bird has a Brahmapuram, the dog, German shepherd has a Brahmapuram. We, each one of us, in this Hrudaya Akashe. And it Sakshat. So Brahmapure, Brahmanaha, Atra, Chaitanya Swarupena, Nitya, Abhivyakta, Tad Brahmanaha Puram, Hrudaya Pundarikam, Tasmin Vyomni, in the space of that, Tasmin Vyomni Akashe, Hrut Pundarikam Madhyaste Pratishtita Iva Upalabhyate. It is as though it is gained over there. That is where it is. So in the meditation, that is where we have to enter. We have to enter this Brahmapuram. I am, I am, I am, I am. deepest chamber of my presence holds the royal secret. And this royal secret is available only over there. Raj Vidya Raj Guhyam, a chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And how do I enter it? I have to know it. That is all. There is no entry. That's why he says it is as though it is a city. Again, even remove the concepts of entering a city. It ever is. It is. Na hrut akashat sarvagatasya gatihi agatihi pratishita va anyatha sambhavati. Without this knowledge, one cannot find a complete cessation of all types of desires. This absolute, this Hrudaya Akashavat Sarvagatasya, that absolute being, that absolute self, even though it is said it is within, but it is all pervading Akashavat, like space. Gatihi agatihi pratishtha va anyatha na sambhavati. There is no coming and going. Gatihi, agatihi. There is no such movement because it is all pervading. And the reason why this is said is all types of concepts have to be removed. That I have to go to this Brahmapura, that I have to go to this city of Brahman. It is not like that. To remove that doubt, there is no such thing as going to Brahmapura. It is right here. It is presence. It is only the shifting of the awareness. Instead of my attention being on the thought, I shift it to the awareness which awares the thought. Bas. Because the whole thing, my life, my presence, and the universe, it is a figment of imagination which exists within. The world, don't think it exists outside. The sun, the moon and stars are known where? It is known in here. That outside sun enters my senses, enters my mind, and it is known in the mind. It is not known outside. The knowledge of the world is within. Thus, there is no going and coming. This is to be meditated upon. That is why the knower of Brahman, silence. What can he talk about? The student is seeing the sun. The student says the sun is. The teacher sees the sun. The teacher knows I am. And what I am is knowing the sun. So the sun exists in me. The whole universe culminates in them. And if anything exists outside, the support is consciousness. And from that standpoint, the whole is negated as Maya. But we can only negate it from the standpoint of consciousness. Without consciousness, how can I negate? Who is negating what? To negate something, I have to be other than it. I can only say I am not the pen because I know I am Swami. That's why I can say I am not the pen. My identity is different than its identity. So when the knower knows, I am awareness. From that awareness standpoint, all of them is negated. That's why Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mithya. That is why there is no movement. Knower is, knower is, knower is. That's why even the language of the knower of self is unique. How can he talk about this world when there is no world? That's why the madman of Dakshineshwar, the mystic of Arunachala, nobody can understand Sri Ramana's language. What can he say? What can Sri Ramakrishna Paramhamsa say? He worships himself and the Devi is just sitting. And he has to be reminded, oh, you have to worship her. And they thank you. And then he puts flowers over there. People thought he's mad. But there is no coming and going. Coming and going is of the thought. The thought comes, the thought goes. Ideas come, ideas go. Emotions come, emotions go. Where can this awareness go? It is. It is. He will watch the body also change. He will not refer to this body as his body. This is hungry. Anandmayi Ma couldn't even ask for food. Her disciples had to open mouth and shove food in. 60 decades she has never asked for any food. And if her disciples forgot to feed her, ever intoxicated in the bliss of the self, the presence becomes a burden. The presence of this. They don't see anything. This is to be meditated upon. There comes a point in time, this bhavana, we start living the bhavana everywhere. We start seeing the world as an extension of the self. And when that thought is created, it is a thought of Brahman. But even when the thought is negated, what remains? So that thought that this is Brahman, this is Brahman, this is Brahman, it's called akhandakara vritti. All vrittis I know of Brahman. But then there comes a point in time, even that falls off. Nothing remains. So that saha hi atma atrastha manovrittibihi eva vibhavyate. And that atma, that self, expresses itself over here in the mind as manovrittibihi eva vibhavyate. It is the modifications of, it is emotions and feelings and thoughts. It expresses that. Manomaya mana upadi tat prana sharira neta pranascha shariram cha pranaha. And that mind which understands the mentation, intellect which understands the thought process, I am aware of the feelings, those are passed on to the pranic shakti which creates the illusion of the matter. How? Some shakti is there. That pranamaya kosha is the very power for the avyakta to become vyakta. It becomes a bridge from here. Even though it is illusion, where is this illusion? Who supports it? This Atma. Vijnanamaya kosha, manomaya kosha, comes the pranamaya kosha, and from that pranamaya kosha the leap into this world. Annamaya kosha, all this, it understands as a great glory and it exists. So what I had talked about in this mantra, that this self which is the Satchidananda unconditioned self, that Brahmapura absolute self, now becomes the conditioned by the upadi of Vijnanamaya kosha, Manomaya kosha, Pranamaya kosha, Annamaya kosha. And that is, it is Manomaya Prana Sharira Neta. It becomes the leader of it. Without this consciousness, it cannot exist. Pratishtite atra hrudayam sannidhaya. Where is it existing? Right here. Right here. So we will continue from here next week. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.